The juices are flowing right now in Oxford, Mississippi, and I'm not talking about the recent addition of the wide receiver Ole Miss added via the transfer portal or the cute little Labrador retriever that walks the sidelines at Vaught Hemingway Stadium on Saturdays. Make no mistake, Ole Miss is sending a message to every team in the SEC headed into 2024, and it's time for the national narrative to start paying attention. Let's talk about the recent additions headed to Oxford for 2024 over the weekend. If you are new here, welcome on into the channel. My name is Cole Thompson. I'm a radio show host based in Houston, and I talk college football daily. So this is the type of content you enjoy, plus coaching searches, anything going on with the national championship, and a bunch of other nonsense that goes on in our crazy sport. Make sure you smash that subscribe button down below. Leave a comment telling me what your preseason expectations are for Ole Miss heading into 2024. Tell your friends, your family, your mortal enemies, college football aficionados, and Ole Miss Rebel fans everywhere about this channel, because we're on the race and so damn close to 1,000 subscribers before Christmas. Then we're going to go to 5,000, then 10,000, then 100,000. And ladies and gentlemen, I think we all know I'm going to get there. So why don't you jump on in while the water's fine. Continue to follow me on social media at Mr. Cole Thompson. That way the juices or the flow of college football conversations never have to stop. Juice Wells of South Carolina has officially committed to Ole Miss for 2024. And it's not like Lane Kiffin wanted to go out and add in another premier wide receiver. He just had the luxury to do so. When healthy, Wells can be a difference maker. He can be a legit number one pass catcher for any offense. And at worst, he's probably a number three. And you watch what he did last season at South Carolina when fully healthy. There was a reason for optimism in Columbia. And there's a lot of optimism that he will bring that same persona down to Oxford to fortify a passing attack that already is probably top 20 in the nation. You're already retaining Trey Harris. You're bringing back Jordan Watkins. You're keeping Caden Priestcorn. And it does feel like Jackson Dart will be slinging it up next season in Oxford. So every key element offensively is there. And that's a key asset to being good in the SEC. But the one thing that has hindered Lane Kiffin's success at Ole Miss has been defensive depth. That has always been a problem, I think, for a lot of people when it comes to the SEC. It's not about the talent that starts. It's about what happens if you have to replace that talent via graduation or injuries or season-ending transfer decisions. All of those things have hindered success at Oxford to an all-time high. Because 10-2 is never the expectation. Maybe now you could say, well, this is a preconceived notion that we haven't seen in Ole Miss for quite some time. But with every year, the expectations rise a little bit more. And after going 10-2, first 10-win season in 2021, Kiffin wanted to get improved. And you saw that this past year where they went back to 10-2. And the only two losses came to the teams that were playing in the SEC championship. But you also heard Kiffin say, we need to add in more 5-stars. We need to add in more premier talent. The reason why teams like Alabama and Georgia continue to stockpile and win consistently is because of the talent that they have. Well, defensively, you're putting on a performance. You not only added in Tyler Barron from Tennessee this past weekend, but you also added in, and I apologize for the pronunciation. Sorry for the Ole Miss fans who are going to call me out in the comments section. Princely Umanleland from Florida is also coming in. Not to mention, you also fortified your defensive backfield depth by adding in talents such as Tennessee defensive back Tamarian McDonald, and of course, DeMarcarian Richardson, a former cornerback, starting cornerback at Mississippi State. So Kiffin's going out of his way to add in talent that automatically already understands the persona of what is determined in the SEC. These are players with extensive reps under their belt playing in the conference where it just means more. These are players who are coming in that could be either day one starters or day one contributors. And you're also not done. This is just the start for Kiffin. You have to realize that Walter Nolan, the number one player in the defensive transfer portal, is looking at Ole Miss. He recently just visited Oxford. A decision is probably coming within the next few days. And if they land him, now you're bringing back in talent like J.J. Pegas, Jared Ivey, not to mention what you've already added in via the portal. I haven't even mentioned Chris Paul Jr., the linebacker from Arkansas. That'll fortify your run defense as well. So you're adding in players that will change the persona of that defensive side. This was a top 25 offense this past year, but they struggled at times stopping LSU. They struggled at times stopping Alabama, and they couldn't stop Georgia with a cold, wet blanket. This was what was hindering all assets of potentially making a college football playoff, or at least a trip down to Atlanta in the SEC championship for Ole Miss. Well, now Kiffin is saying, I'm done playing second fiddle. I realize what's at stake when I have the opportunity of taking my team to the college football playoff. And once you get into a 12-team playoff, all bets are off. I'm not saying you won't see the favorites win it every year, but you will see a few upsets along the way. And Kiffin, at this point, he's starting to realize I'm not going to land 5-star talents every single year, but I'm damn sure going to go after the 4 stars that enter the portal, come back out, and want a second opportunity. But this time, they're willing to work. They want to put in the effort of being a part of a program. We want to be something special down in Oxford. We just don't want to be another name on the wall that finds their way into the college football playoff and eventually is sent packing. We want to make a statement. And so when you look at the names who were added in via the portal, they're proven commodities that will flourish in the SEC. There's no second guessing if these players can sustain success in college football's toughest conference. You already have a film sheet. Could be a couple plays, could be countless plays, but you know that they work. And that's what Kiffin is targeting. Players who automatically will elevate the status and the persona of the defense, but players who are proven and have the reps to back it up. It's a great move. Everything so far that Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss has done throughout the transfer portal in the early stages before early signing period, at least is telling you that 10 wins, that's not the goal. That's the expectation. We're expected to get to 10 wins. Now, we want to put ourselves in a favorable spot to where nobody can doubt us going into 2024. And you look at their schedule, next season, they are very much locked and loaded for a favorable advantage to win every single game en route to potentially making it to Atlanta. There's no mistaking it. Yeah, they have a game against Georgia, and they're going to play LSU, and they're going to take on Oklahoma, but they don't have to go through Texas. They don't have to face off against Alabama. They don't have to face off against Texas A&M with a brand new coach that features a stable defensive front. They don't have to do any of that next year. So the schedule bodes well for them, and they're adding in the right pieces that will take them over the top. The goal should be college football playoff or bust. And I'm not saying number 11 seed. I'm saying number 7 seed, number 8 seed. You're returning arguably two of the best young receivers in the SEC, not to mention what you're bringing in with Juice Wells and what you could be bringing back with another year of experience for Jackson Dart. Plus, I didn't even mention what Quinshon Judkins is going to do going into year 3. He's looking for the Triple Crown. He wants that third 1,000-yard season, and boy, he can get it. Absolutely, he can get it. Ole Miss at this point is throwing down every card in the book, and they're telling the world, we mean business. Watch out for us in 2024. By the moves made over the last few days, you're seeing it unfold. Now the question is, how high are we ranking Ole Miss going into the preseason? Top 5? Top 10? Number 8? Number 11 on the outside looking in? And if they get to 11 wins with a victory over Penn State, now the persona drastically changes because 11 wins feels like the pre-notion expectation going into 2024. We just beat Penn State. Why can't we beat Alabama? Why can't we beat Georgia? Why can't we hold our own against everybody else in the conference that considers themselves a contender? Because we treat ourselves like one. We're damn sure going to make sure we recruit like one. And it may not come with young up-and-coming talent, but it may come with emerging names that just need a second chance to strut their stuff elsewhere. That's the difference between Ole Miss and other programs. They continue to gallop and wallop the transfer portal. And that's a key element of what's made Lane Kiffin so successful. He watched as Mike Norvell added in those final pieces to transform Florida State from being a 10-win team into a college football playoff contender. And yes, I do believe that if you were to get an opportunity to see Florida State play fully healthy, they could hold their own in the college football playoff. So make no mistake, Ole Miss has learned its ways, and they're now catapulting themselves over the top to put them on a pedestal alongside the other contenders in the SEC. And it's not the end for Lane Kiffin. Folks, it only feels like the start in Oxford. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching that video. Don't hit the X button yet. Make sure you hit subscribe to keep up with all of our daily content found on Just Saying It and anything else that we post on this channel. Bye.